This story I'm about to share was lived and told by my mother. My mother hails from Ghana, West Africa, and was born in a small town called Larteh. Larteh is a few hours from the capital city of Accra, which is on the coast of the Atlantic Ocean. My mother married my father and after some years came to the United States. They were inspired by Kwame Nkrumah, who studied in the US and helped usher in Ghana's independence from its colonial power, Great Britain. Their port of entry was Boston, Massachusetts, where I was born. My mother would give birth to two other boys in the States and arranged for my older brother, who was born in Ghana and staying with relatives, to live together with us. After elementary school, we moved to upstate New York and lived in Penfield, a suburb of Rochester. My mother and my father were known for their big love for Ghana culture and tradition. They're often asked, even today, to lead or facilitate naming ceremonies and other cultural events and activities in our Ghana expat community. My parents, after 25 plus years together, separated. Though they are friends today, this was a deep and dark time for our family. It was at this time that my mother was asked to stand in as a mother for a young Ghanaian woman soon to be married. This woman's mother, residing in Ghana, would not be able to be with her for the wedding. She wanted the counsel and support to have the wedding of her dreams, a traditional Ghanaian wedding. Well, my mother stepped in, and as she tells it, they would converse over the telephone, but would get together monthly to talk and work on the arrangements. The young lady lived in Syracuse, about an hour from Rochester. She and my mother didn't know each other outside of their upstate New York expat community. On one of their first meetings, the woman asks my mother, "Where are you from?" My mother tells her, and the young lady says, "You remind me of a woman in my village." The bride-to-be is from a small village near the Volta River in the eastern region of Ghana called Peki. They speak a different language than my mother and are a number of hours away from where she grew up and lived before coming to the United States. My mother replies, "I have no family that lives there." The two meet again, and the woman asks, "Are you sure you have no family in my village? Because you remind me of this woman who could be your mother." My mother replies, "My mother is dead." My mother lost track of her mother when she was about 9 or 10 years old. Her father had a few wives, and one day her mother was gone, and she was told that she was dead. She was raised by her stepmothers and father with the understanding that her mother was gone, dead. At their next meeting, the budding bride says, "Do you have something that your mother gave you that I can show this woman in my village? I really believe she is your mother." The woman was going to Ghana to visit her mother just before her big day. Now, what's interesting to me is that this woman persisted in questioning my mother, significantly older and an elder, which traditionally is something you just don't do, again and again, and also that my mother entertained the inquiry. My mother has a little snap in her and is known for letting people know on occasion when they are out of bounds. But my mom presents this woman with a cloth, a special keepsake that is her only memento of her mother that she has kept these 50-some-odd years. This woman flies to Ghana, goes to her village, seeks out this woman, presents her with this cloth, and the woman breaks down and cries, "My daughter, my daughter, my daughter." Apparently, it was her mother, and their reunion marked my first trip to Ghana. We flew there in 1992 and went to this village to see this woman who looked exactly like my mother. They just cried and looked in each other's eyes and cried some more. My grandmother left my grandfather and went to her village of her ancestors, her relatives whom my mother knew nothing about. They couldn't speak to each other because my grandmother didn't speak English, and my mother couldn't speak her language. But what a celebration, a homecoming, a story. my grandmother lived another 12 years or so with the knowledge and care of her daughter, her only daughter, my mother.